Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're getting into a really big question, one that every business using artificial intelligence has to ask. Are these huge, expensive AI projects actually worth it? So let's dive in and figure out how to calculate that true value.
So, just imagine this for a second. Your company spends a ton of money on some new AI system. A few months later, your boss comes over and asks, "So, how do we actually know this thing is paying off?" That's a massive question, right? And it's one you're definitely going to face. Today, we're going to give you the tools to answer it with real confidence.
So the number one tool for this is something called return on investment, or ROI. It's basically a fancy way of asking how much bang are we getting for our buck. But as you'll see with AI, things get, well, a little bit trickier than just punching numbers into a spreadsheet.
To figure out the ROI, we need a formula. Now, it looks pretty simple on the surface, but knowing how to use it properly, that's the real skill.
Okay, here it is, the classic ROI formula. All it is your net benefit, which is just your total gains minus your total costs. You divide that by the total costs, and then times it by 100 to get a nice clean percentage. Looks simple enough, right? But, and this is a big but, AI turns this simple math into a bit of an art form. Let me show you why.
And this, right here, is the tricky part with AI. See, not all the benefits are about cold, hard cash. I mean, how do you actually put a pound sign on happier customers? Or on employees who are more motivated and less stressed? These are what we call intangible benefits. And often, they're the most valuable part of any AI project, but they're also the absolute hardest to measure. Okay, to really get this, let's walk through an example. We're going to look at a fictional UK company, let's call them TechSphere Solutions. Now, they decided to bring in an AI-powered chatbot to handle their basic customer service questions, hoping it would free up their team to deal with the really tough problems. Let's see if it paid off for them. So we're going to break this down into 3 simple steps. First, we'll add up every single cost. Second, we'll figure out all the benefits, both the obvious cash ones and those trickier intangible ones. And then finally, we'll plug all of that into our formula and get the magic number. First up, the costs. And as you can see, it's not just the cost of the software itself. Sure, TechSphere spent £450,000 on the tech, but look at this. The biggest expense was actually the salaries for the team that built and managed it, a massive £700,000. You add in the data, the training, and all the support, and you get a grand total of £1.5 million. Okay, now for the good stuff, the benefits. On the one hand, TechSphere saw £600,000 in direct savings because the bot was handling so many questions automatically. But this is where it gets interesting. Look at the right-hand column. They worked out that having happier, more loyal customers was worth an estimated £800,000, and making their staff more productive? That was worth another $424,000. So get this, more than half of their total benefit wasn't even direct cash. Right, let's do the maths. We take the total benefits, that's £1,824,000, and we subtract the total cost of $1.5 million. And that leaves us with a net benefit, basically pure profit, of £324,000. Now we have everything we need for that final step. And there it is. TechSphere's chatbot delivered a return on investment of 21.6%. So, what does that actually mean? Well, it means for every single pound they put into this project, they got that pound back, plus nearly 22 pence on top as pure profit. Not bad at all, right? But wait a second. That number is great for a presentation slide, but the real story, the thing you've got to explain to your boss, is how that value was created. The number itself? That's just the beginning of the conversation. And that really brings us to the most important point of all. Because true long-term value, it isn't just about the immediate profit. It's about building a stronger business, and you can't always see that on a standard financial report. So you see, for TechSphere, the real win wasn't just that extra profit. It was having happier customers who are going to stick around for years. It was having employees who felt more valuable because they were solving interesting problems, not just answering the same question 100 times a day. It was about building a stronger, better company. That's the story you tell. That's what really proves the project was a success.
So, what does all this mean for you, in your role? Well, being able to understand and calculate ROI, it isn't just a technical skill. Honestly, it's like having a superpower. It lets you speak the language of business and prove why new, innovative ideas are worth investing in.
Okay, so before we finish up, let's lock in the 3 main things you need to remember. First, always get the full picture, costs and benefits. Second,
don't forget about those intangible gains. They are so important. And third, use that final ROI number as the headline for a much bigger story about creating real, long-lasting value.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Just look around your own workplace tomorrow. Think about the way things are done, the little frustrations, the hidden potential. What is that hidden, intangible value that AI could unlock right where you are? Because answering that question, well, that's where the next game-changing idea at your company could come from. Thanks so much for joining me.